Some loves are written in ink, others in sacrifice. Welcome to the Velvet Story, where emotions breathe and tales linger long after the last word. This is Wrong Love, Right Heart, a tale of crossing worlds, rewriting fate, and the love that chooses you even when memory doesn't. Turn the page with us, and remember, not all fairy tales begin with once upon a time. Chapter 16, The Blank Page. Cian, pre-dawn fog. Ira awoke with her heart pounding. The dream still lingered, pages fluttering. A story unfinished, and that single blank sheet as if something waited to be written. She sat up, touching her neck instinctively where her moonstone necklace once hung. Gone, just like Kale. Her breath caught. Why do I feel like I'm being watched? She stepped outside the healer's hut into the misty town square. The village slept, all but one. An old woman in a deep blue cloak sat under the well arch, her gaze fixed on Ira. Her eyes shimmered silver. You are not from here, child, the woman said softly. You are from between pages. Ira's chest tightened. What did you say? You've crossed stories, from one world into another. Her lips curled faintly. And now, the story is changing because of you. Ira stumbled back. Who are you? I am a reader, and sometimes, a writer. She held out a scroll, sealed in wax. When the time comes, read this. Not before, not after. Then she vanished. The palace, Kale's breaking point. Kale stared at the crown. It sat on the velvet cushion like a curse. Every moment in the palace without Ira was a slow death. He tried to rule. He tried to fulfill his duty. But nothing filled the hollow place she left behind. On the seventh night, Kale called his most trusted knight. I am leaving, he said. I need to find her. But the coronation, let the throne wait. She didn't. Ira, the scroll unfolds. Days passed. Ira sat beneath the cliffs again, finally unsealing the scroll with trembling fingers. As the parchment unfurled, golden ink appeared on its own. When a soul not meant for this world alters the path, the story reacts. You loved a man who was never yours to begin with. He was meant to sacrifice. But he chose you. Now, the world you borrowed must return you to the one that aches for you. But only one of you may pass. Ira's breath hitched. Only one of us may pass? The cliff reunion, a moment stolen. That night, as the sun melted into the horizon, Kale reached the cliffs. She was there, just like in his dreams. He didn't call her name. He walked until she turned, eyes wide, heart breaking and healing all at once. You found me, she whispered. I was never lost, he said. You were the only thing I've ever truly known. They ran to each other. No words, just a kiss, soft, fierce, desperate. Their hands clung like lifelines. I shouldn't have left, she cried. I thought it was right. It wasn't, Kale said, his voice cracking. We were right. Ira's decision. That night, she showed him the scroll. His jaw clenched as he read it. Only one may pass. Either I stay, and you disappear from this world, she said, tears welling. Or I return, and you remain in a story that was never fair to you. Kale closed his eyes. Then let it be me. She stared. What? I'll come with you. Kale, you don't belong in my world. I belong with you. I don't care what world that is. Chapter 17, The Choice Between Worlds. The cliff, midnight. The stars burned cold above as Kale and Ira stood at the cliff's edge, scroll in hand, fingers intertwined as though they feared one might vanish if they let go. Ira read the golden ink again. Only one may pass. It's a trap, she said. The story wants to correct itself. Kale's voice was steady. Then we'll write our own ending. But Kale, if you come with me, what if you forget everything? What if you don't belong there? He smiled faintly. I never belonged here until you arrived. A gust of wind swept around them. The scroll began to shimmer. A golden arch of light unfolded before their eyes, rippling like water, pulsing like a heartbeat. A gate between worlds. It had begun. Ira's heart splits. She reached toward it, then stopped. Her memories flooded back, her small apartment, her white coat, her sterile hospital halls. The real world. And then, Kale's laughter, his kisses, the feel of his heartbeat against hers. I'm scared, she whispered. What if we lose everything? Kale stepped behind her, wrapping his arms around her. Then let's lose it together. She turned in his embrace. But, it says one. We'll take that risk. The gate reacts. As they stepped toward the arch together, it shimmered violently. The golden light flickered, pulsing like a wounded thing. Suddenly, another presence, the cloaked woman from before, emerged beside the portal. I warned you, she said gently. The rules are written. One heart may pass, not two. Kale stepped forward. Then I give mine. Ira gasped. No, what do you mean? I give my life, my world, everything. Let her go home. Let her live. The woman shook her head. Love isn't sacrifice anymore, Prince. The story is already rewriting itself. She stepped forward and placed her hand on Kale's chest. The bond between you two has twisted the ink of fate. The prize was never about who passes, but what they must leave behind. Ira's eyes welled up. What does that mean? The final test. The cloaked woman smiled faintly. If you cross together, Kale will lose all memory of this world. His identity, his power, his past, it will dissolve. Ira's breath hitched. He won't remember who he is? No prince, no palace, just Kale. Kale looked at her, quiet, soft. Would you love me still, if I was no one at all? Ira stepped into his arms, pressing her forehead to his. I never loved the prince. I loved you. The crossing. They stepped through. Light swallowed them. Pain, wind, then, silence. Modern world, hospital rooftop. Ira blinked. The scent of antiseptic. The city skyline. She staggered forward, gripping the railing. Her hospital ID clung to her chest. Was it a dream? Then she heard it. Laughter. She turned. He stood there. A man in jeans and a white button-up shirt, smiling like the sun lived in his heart. Hi, he said. I don't know why I'm here, but I think I was looking for someone. Ira's lips trembled. You found her. She stepped forward. And in that moment, Kale remembered nothing. But his heart still knew her. Chapter 18, Echoes of You. Modern world, hospital rooftop. The breeze rustled Kale's hair as he stood beside Ira, squinting at the city below. Honking cars, flickering billboards, and the hum of machines overwhelmed him. And yet, his gaze never left her. You are Ira, he said slowly, as if tasting the name. I don't know how I know, but I feel like I've said it before. Ira's eyes shimmered. You have, many times. He frowned. Were we together? She smiled, sad and sweet. We were everything. Ira's apartment, that night. Kale paced the small living room like a wild animal trapped in glass. The world was strange, so fast, so loud. He flinched when the microwave beeped. Nearly jumped when the elevator chimed. But every time Ira came close, he calmed. Like her presence quieted the storm. He studied the photographs on her wall. One caught his eye, a sketch she had once drawn of the cherry blossom tree. His fingers brushed the image. This means something, doesn't it? Ira stepped beside him. It's where you first kissed me. He stared at it a long time. I don't remember, but I want to. Dreams of another world. That night, Kale tossed and turned. In his sleep, fragments surfaced. A garden bathed in moonlight. A cloak pressed around someone's shoulders. Her laughter, the feel of her hand in his. And a crown, dropped at someone's feet. He woke with a cry, drenched in sweat. Ira was by his side in seconds. Kale. He clutched her hand. It's like I'm breaking open. I don't know who I was, but I know it was with you. She touched his face gently. That's all that matters. Back at the hospital, in new life. Kale joined the hospital's volunteer team, cleaning, helping patients to rooms, learning slowly about this world. He was awkward, clumsy with machines and confused by phones. But when a child cried, Kale knelt without hesitation. When a patient panicked, he whispered softly until they smiled again. And every evening, he waited at the hospital rooftop for her. One night, the rooftop again. Ira, he said quietly, if I never remember who I was, will you tell me our story? She turned toward him, heart aching. Every single chapter. He smiled. Then write me a new one. With you. In this world. She blinked, stunned. You mean? Kale took her hand. I may have lost a kingdom, but I found you. So let's build our own. Chapter 19, A Name Beyond the Crown. Modern world, early morning. Kale stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the ID badge Ira had made for him, Kale Yoon volunteer assistant. Her surname, not his. He'd chosen it on purpose. Until I remember mine, he had said, I'll carry yours. Ira watched him from the doorway. Something about seeing him in scrubs, untitled, free, grounded, stirred something deeper than nostalgia. It felt right. Hospital hallways, a shift in the air. KL was changing, in ways even he didn't understand. He knew how to calm patients no one else could reach. He instinctively touched pressure points to ease pain. He once diagnosed a child's rare condition by observation alone, skills no one had taught him here. How did you know? Ira had asked. KL had only shrugged. I felt it. The doctors were baffled. Some even whispered. But Ira knew. He's remembering, just not the way we expected. The forgotten bookstore. One rainy afternoon, KL and Ira ducked into an old bookstore, escaping a sudden downpour. As they browsed, KL froze. A large, leather-bound volume on a back shelf pulsed faintly, barely perceptible, but alive. His fingers brushed the spine. The Kingdom of Sion. His heart thundered. Ira turned. What is it? He handed her the book. I've seen this before. They sat and opened it. But the pages inside were blank. Until KL touched one. Words began to bloom, chapter titles. Names, places, their story. His breath caught as he read. Chapter 12, The Cliffside Kiss. Chapter 16, The Gate of One. Chapter 18, The Man Who Forgot. KL turned to Ira. This is us. The bookkeeper's warning. As they stood to leave, the shopkeeper, a blind old man, spoke from behind the counter. Careful with that book. It belongs to no world anymore. Ira hesitated. What do you mean? It's unfinished, he said softly. And unfinished stories like to rewrite themselves. He turned his unseeing eyes toward KL. And sometimes, they don't like when a character leaves the page. That night, the first crack. Back at her apartment, Ira found KL sitting by the window, staring out at the city lights. I keep wondering, he said. What if I wasn't meant to stay? Ira sat beside him. You were meant for me. That's all I know. He leaned his head against hers. But outside the window, on the glass pane, a faint golden glyph flickered and vanished. The book had followed. The story wasn't done. Chapter 20, When Realities Begin to Fray. Ira's apartment, midnight. Rain tapped against the windows, but KL couldn't sleep. The book lay closed on the table, yet its presence loomed like thunder. Since they had touched it, strange things had begun happening. Clocks ticked backward for moments. A patient in the ICU called KL Your Highness in her sleep. And once, as KL looked in the mirror, he swore he saw himself in royal garb, just for a second. The line between worlds was cracking. The return of the cloaked woman. She appeared again in Ira's dream. Love can anchor a soul, she whispered, but can it rewrite a world? Ira turned. We've made our choice. The woman touched her heart. Then protect him, because the book wants him back. Ira woke, breathless, reaching for KL. He was already awake, watching her with storm-filled eyes. I remember the gates now, he murmured. And leaving my world behind. A moment of peace. They went to the park the next day. It was quiet. Ira rested her head on KL's shoulder beneath the cherry blossoms, just like in the other world. KL gently took her hand and slipped something into it. A silver ring. Found it in my jacket pocket this morning, he said. I think it's from before. Ira's eyes welled up. I remember. You gave it to me the night before the ending. KL placed it on her finger again. Then let's pretend it never ended. But peace doesn't last. That evening, the book opened by itself. Its pages turned rapidly, until they stopped on a chapter neither of them had ever seen. When love defies the story written, it doesn't end, it echoes. Thank you for stepping between pages with us. If this chapter moved you, let your heart speak in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Velvet Story. More hearts await, more stories linger. Until next time, keep reading between the lines.